Hello, guys. Welcome back to another episode of the Girls Lounge podcast with your hosts, Liz and KT. Hope you guys are having a great Wednesday so far. So, it is actually editing Canadian talking right now. I went to edit this podcast episode, and the intro, when Liz was doing it, for some reason did not save. So, I decided to jump on the mic real quick and intro this episode real quick because it literally just jumps into us doing our faves of the week. And I felt like we just needed a proper little intro so I don't give y'all a jump scare. So I hope you guys enjoy the rest of this episode, and let's get into me and Liz's favorites of the week.
So now we're gonna go ahead and get into some of our favorites of the week. So my favorite, first I'm gonna add this, the cherry limeade that I'm drinking from Poppy right now. It's actually pretty good. I don't know. I was a little skeptical about this flavor, but it is very good. I do like it indeed. And then my other favorite is just if you, I don't know if it's like a whole US thing or just like a Kentucky thing right now, but it is so hot outside. Like it's just pure heat outside. And don't get me wrong, I don't really like that. I like there to be a breeze a little bit. But I will say, when you are outside, I really like feeling like the sun on you. Now, not when it's like burning you and like, killing your skin and all that kind of stuff, but just the feeling of like the warmth of the sun. I really enjoyed that this past week.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I actually just went outside for a minute to get something from my mom's car, and it felt so nice. I was like, oh, the sun. It's just like something when the sun hits your skin, you get like a boost of serotonin, and it just hits different. And then for my favorites, my first is, of course, some YouTubers, and I'm gonna group them together because they're all friends, but the Australian girlies, and that is Rachel, Sophie, and Georgia. They make like book and lifestyle content, but like mostly lifestyle. But Rachel does also post reading vlogs as well. Oh my god, and they each have like their own reading club with like their manager who manages them all, and the vibes are just immaculate, and I'm like, I need to go to Australia now.
No, because I want to know, Kennedy, how do you be finding all these people? I feel like every episode, Kennedy's over here hyping up some new YouTubers that she's watching. And I feel like me personally, I struggle finding new people to watch on YouTube. Like, I watch the same old people. If I like find someone new, it's because I found them through like a TikTok or something. But Kennedy be on it with the YouTubers. I love that.
No, I feel like I stay discovering new YouTubers, and I don't know, they just like pop up in my recommendation. Like people be saying YouTube's dead, but like my YouTube feed personally is popping. Like I stay finding new people. Like I feel like I just found someone the other day. Like I don't know. But yeah, so I really think if you like book and lifestyle content, you should really check them out. Like, oh my gosh, their videos are so funny. Like when they're together, it's just so good. And they actually, Liz, you should watch this video. Add this to the list. Like a couple weeks ago, they went to like the mountains for like a reading weekend. The vibes were immaculate. So check them out, everybody, if you're listening. And the next is Jersey Mike's. Y'all, when I tell you I'm such a sandwich sub girl, the Italian sub that they have, fire, so good. And if you have some salt and vinegar chips, chef's kiss. And the next is pimple patches because y'all, I had some deadly pimples right in the middle of my forehead and two on my cheek. Put them pimple patches on. They did their thing. So, and pimple patches we trust over here. And then next, we're gonna get into the pop culture trends, which is only like one, at least what I wrote down. And so, I didn't realize till last night that the upcoming weeks when these episodes will be posted is going to be double headers for Formula One. So that means there's going to be a race 2 race weekends back to back because usually they race one weekend, then they get like a weekend off, and then they race the next weekend. But the week that this is posted will be the Austria GP, and the last episode it was the Spain GP. So again, I'm gonna try to put something out in the universe, and I'm hoping for the same thing I wished for last week, either a McLaren 1-2 or both McLarens on the podium. I would love to see, of course, Ferrari on the podium as well if they, for that third place, or someone else just has to be on the podium. Ferrari would be nice. And I guess like Mercedes, I wouldn't care either. That's what I have to talk about this week for Trinity Topics.
All I have to say about that is, as always, as a Charles girly, Leclerc on top. But I think it's gonna be interesting since we're pre-recording these episodes. When we record like back on our regularly scheduled things to see like what pop trends were happening that we didn't have a chance to talk about. But that's all I have to say about that. So next up, we're gonna get into our song of the week. So my song of the week this week is an oldie but a goodie, and that is "Green Light" by Lord. If you don't listen to Lord, what are you doing? Because I love Lord so much. Not gonna lie, I was tempted to put Liability as my song of the week, but Liability is like, if you know, it's like such a like depressing song, but it's such a good one. But I didn't do that. I went with a better, I don't know, not so depressing music. But anyways, I'm gonna play my little clip of Green Light that I really like. Honey, I'll be seeing you wherever I go. But honey, I'll be seeing you down every road. I'm waiting for it, that green light. 'Cause honey, that part specifically is always my favorite because it's right before she's like gets louder and it just like the buildup of it. I love her vocals so much. But that's my song of the week.
So I'm gonna have to listen to that song later. I was definitely vibing. But this week, I've been low key getting into like my Afro beats low key. I'm like, yeah. So we're kind of like going the same Burner Boy train, but it's like with more artists on the song. Hopefully, he doesn't copyright us this week. But it's okay. I don't know how to pronounce it. Swishwala Bam. I'm gonna spell it out for you guys real quick. T H. Oh my god, me already getting it wrong. It's literally right in front of me. TSHWALA space BAM with Burna Boy, Tito M featuring SNE. And I'm gonna play like my favorite part of it. Like you just can't help but bop to it. So as you can see, it's a cute little bop, and I just imagine listening to that song and wearing a dress and the sun just beaming on me. So, yeah. And then I guess next we can get into what we are watching. And honestly, I haven't been watching like that much stuff. Um, okay, I still have cable. I may be one of the few people still have cable, and I'm one of those type of people, like I just need background noise. I don't know, like pure silence hurts my ears, I feel like. So Freeform, if you didn't know, ew, why do I call it Freeform? It may be Freeform, but we all know it's ABC Family, like, of course. They're doing like a 30 days at Disney, so they're just playing like a whole bunch of old Disney movies. So that's just what be on my TV so far. And so yeah, old Disney movies, like that's the vibe honestly for the summer. And then I've also started this show on Netflix called the Sunta Case. It's a limited series, it's a crime series. Basically, this couple from Spain adopted a girl from China, and she's 12 years old. She goes missing and they find her murdered, and they think, at least where I'm at, they think the mom did it, but I think both parents are looking suspicious. And I'm on like the second or third episode. I think there's six. And I'm definitely a little like, I truly don't know what could have happened here. There's definitely lots of things that are not adding up. And it's crazy that it's based off a true story. I definitely want to dive into like the true story as I finish the show, because I'm just like, I'm sure the show's leaving a lot of stuff out, but it's really interesting. So if you like those type of shows, I would definitely recommend it, especially because it's a limited series, so you don't have to worry about another season or anything like that.
I was just about to ask you if it was a true story or not. I swear, sometimes those shows where it's a true story, but like you've never heard of it, are always the best ones because you don't want to look up the information, but like you do because you're so intrigued, and just like figuring out who did it is crazy. If they even know who did it, because half the time they don't even know. But what am I watching? Um, I am not currently watching anything. I'm slacking. I feel like I've been saying this on every episode, but I am slacking. Like This Is Us has been not going at all. But I'm about to start a new Turkish drama. Thank you, TikTok. I forgot what it was called. I just know I downloaded it for my 18-hour flight. But it's a Turkish drama, and if you know anything about Turkish dramas, they are so good. Like the build up, the storyline, the drama, they just be really good. Like they know what they're doing with the Turkish shows. And shout out to TikTok because I swear I be getting little clips of like the show like in the middle of it, and I'm hooked. Like, I'd be going through, like, all, like, 10 parts that are posted, and I don't even know, like, what they're saying. I just read the subtitles, but I'm gonna be starting that Turkish drama, so I'll update y'all when I finish. Oh, and of course, when we're recording this, Bridgerton Part 2 came out. So, I will be watching that, ASAP, as soon as possible. But anyways, oh, wait, are you gonna say something, Kennedy?
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, I'll be watching it soon as well, and I feel like it will still be like in the works by the time like it'll still be a trendy topic when you get back. So we might like have a whole section
Oh,
recapping it in the next
we
couple
most
of weeks.
definitely will, especially since we recap part 1, it's only fitting. Okay, guys, now it's time to get into the episode, our views on relationships as the single friends. Moment of silence. Yeah. Okay, so I already explained, like, I gave a little context explaining, like, our friend group, how, like, we aren't the only current single ones, but we're the only ones with, like, who relate to one another in this topic. We are gonna be talking about all over the place. We're gonna be talking about our background, so you guys get some more understanding, our views on different things, where we're at, what we're looking for, all the topics, and we're really excited about this. So, Kennedy, why don't you take it away?
Got you. Okay. So first, I feel like it's just to understand like all of our thoughts better. It would be best to get into a little bit of our backgrounds of dating and where we currently stand now. So background, I wasn't allowed to date when I was younger. I didn't even like some people weren't either, but they were sneaky, and it wasn't even like, oh, you can't date until like you're 16 or anything like that. It was strictly no boys. So I was always scared to get in trouble. So I didn't even like try interacting with boys, even if it was just like a friendship type of thing. That was just like, like boys equals trouble. And honestly, it's like, but I really wasn't worried about boys like growing up through like middle school and high school. Like I truly was just doing my own thing, focused on school, focused on cheerleading, just hanging with my friends and just doing my own thing. And then now, fast forward, I'm currently at 20, entering my last year of college, and your girl has no experience, and I'm not on the dating apps. So you could say it's a little rough, but yeah. Liz, do you want to
Yes,
share your
so
background
I'm
now?
also very similar to Kennedy, and literally I put in the show notes, why are me and Kennedy living the same life? Like, this is why we have a podcast, you guys. But I was never really like allowed to, and similar to Kennedy, it wasn't like, oh, like until you're 15 or something, I just kind of like got to the age where like other people were like in relationships, and I don't know. I just never, like, really, like, asked, you know? Like, I just assumed I wasn't allowed to, and I just kind of went with it because also I wasn't truly interested in anyone. Like, yes, there's always those little, like, childhood crushes, like, those are always gonna be there, but it wasn't anything where I was gonna, like, pursue anything too, and I also in my head, I was like, "I can't even drive, bro." Like, I don't want my mom driving me around places, you know? I don't know, that's just, like, how my brain kinda works a little bit, and then, they're, like, the people who, like, have shown an interest or, like, showed an interest around that time in my life when I was younger, I wasn't interested in them back, so it wasn't like, I was rushing to get into it, and the next thing you know, now we're in the now, you know? I'm 21, and I've never been in, like, an actual relationship, you know? I don't even know how this happened, but my friends convinced me to download to, like, get on Hinge, and I have it. I literally have it on my phone, but I wouldn't consider it anything serious because I put on the show notes, and I feel like this is the perfect way to describe it. I said, "Now on Hinge," but, like, am I really on it? Because I simply act blind when I get a notification, or I click an X on everyone. Like, sometimes I'll get on when I'm bored, and I'll FaceTime my friend Jill, and we'll just go through it. And I literally just click an X at everyone. Like, she thinks someone I should, like, I click the X. Or, like, someone likes my profile, I click the X. Like, there is, like, very few people that, like, I replied back to, but it didn't go anywhere, so it don't count. Like I said, it's like I'm not really on that app, but that's my current now.
So now I felt like it would be good to like get into like we explain our background. Now we're gonna get into like the negatives and positives of our experiences through this all. So of course we're gonna start with the negatives first, get that negative energy out the way. And I feel like a lot of people can probably relate to the negatives, but first, um I have definitely felt isolated at times just because I would feel more so like freshman year of college, because that's when I feel like a lot of my friends, well, first of all, we're already like going through a bunch of changes. Like we're all at different universities, we're all having different college experiences. So that was already kind of an isolating feeling for me, because I was having a very drastic one compared to my friends. And then a lot of my friends started having these new experiences with boys. Like that's when a lot of them got their first boyfriend, started having like, their first kiss and everything. So that added on, I was like, wow, I just like can just not relate to a lot of the things that we're talking about right now. So I don't want to say it was like a disconnect, but again, it just felt like very isolating. And I feel like because these things are so new, it has created tension in friendships. Like, not to like put our friend group's business out there, but like we don't really argue, but I feel like times that there have been like some disagreements, it always is kind of goes back to like a boy or somebody's relationship or something like that. So that hasn't been the funnest. And then I have also felt quote unquote behind, which I have now learned that like you're no one's behind. Like there's no law that's like, okay, this is the timeline for you. Like we're all on our own timelines. But I have felt like, dang, like everyone else around me, it seems, is having all these experiences. And I just felt very like stuck, very stagnant. And I'm like, am I the problem? Like what's happening? And yeah, but I've definitely had to work through that the most. And then my singleness slash lack of experience slash my hopeless romantic trait has definitely been used against me by friends in arguments. Obviously, this is not something I would hold against them now, but definitely in the moment, like that kind of hurts. I feel like it hits different because like they know that's something that you're sensitive about. So it's like the fact that they would use that against you to hurt you. It's a little hurtful, but yeah, and it doesn't feel good because I feel like it just kind of just brings forth like all those insecurities that I already have about my lack of experience. And it's like, dang, other people notice this too, because you know how like sometimes with insecurities it's like really in your own mind, and you talk to your friends about it and it's like, oh, like we don't even notice that about you, but like this is something that they notice, and it's like, oh, wow. And then my last like negative is, honestly, okay, I put this here. It's only been told to me like once or twice in the past. But if you're listening to this, don't ever say this to one of your single friends, or yeah, any single friend, especially if you're in a relationship or like have more experience than them. Do not tell them, I cannot see you in a relationship. Like I know you probably don't mean any harm by it, but that can come off like, oh, I don't see you as someone that can be liked, loved, yada yada yada. Like it can just really send someone spiraling. So I just refrain from telling people that, because that can really send them down a dark path.
Yes, going off that last one, Kennedy, I 100% agree, especially because most of the time when someone says that, they say it in the context of like, "Oh, like I don't see you in a relationship," but trying to like hype you up, like, "Oh, like you do great single, like you embody it perfectly." They're trying to hype you up, like they're trying to use it as a compliment, but it's just not. Like you just don't know where like people are mentally or like what emotionally they are. So it's just always nice to just refrain from saying that because you never know. Especially in this topic because I feel like a lot of people sometimes they'll like kind of like hide how they're truly feeling because they don't want to act like it bothers them. And not that it bothers them for lack of better terms, but like they just don't want to showcase those feelings towards relationships out loud to the public. But anyways, I'm going to go into some of my negatives. A lot of them are going to build on Kennedy's or they're very similar to Kennedy's. I feel like this is just like a universal experience if you are in this situation. My first negative is the emphasis on feeling behind of what Kennedy said. Before I felt like I didn't like talking about relationships and things like that just because I would always like compare myself mentally or like compare myself to where other people are at, you know? But I think honestly, TikTok has really helped in this way sometimes because I'll see people on TikTok and they're literally in the same exact boat as me. Like before I thought I was like in the minority or something or like, oh, like I'm alone in this. But no, like you're not. And like honestly, it's some I love when I get like TikToks and it's like people are like I don't know, like a certain age, never been in a relationship, never really liked anyone like that type of thing. And, like, the comments, I will just scroll through the comments because I can relate to so many people and what everybody's saying, and it just helps you feel like you're not behind, and like what Kennedy was talking about being on a different timeline, like, everybody has their own timeline, and it's just, like, being okay with that, accepting that, and then, like, finding your way through that. And then my next, negative is when your singleness, lack of experience, or like hopeless romantic trait has been used against you by someone, emphasis on the hopeless romantic. Kennedy kind of touched base on like the singleness and lack of experience, but the hopeless romantic, and especially as someone who like loves reading contemporary romance, like loves a good rom com, people automatically think like, oh, like you're a hopeless romantic, like your expectations are way too high, you're living in a fairy tale delusional world where none of that is possible, and, like, when that's used against you, it can really hurt because at the end of the day, I feel like people have misconceptions of, like, what a quote unquote "hopeless romantic" is or, like, what they look like, because I don't know, I feel like my expectations aren't hopeless romantic, like, it's the bare minimum, bro, especially when it's used by your friends against you, like, "Oh, like, you're just a hopeless romantic, you don't know what you're talking about, like, you need a reality check," like, that kind of thing. It's just like, "What are you talking about? Like, who do you think you are?" type thing. And then my next negative is, "Am I the problem?" thoughts. Oh my gosh, like, is it me? Am I the problem? Am I the reason that, like, nobody I would like has, like, liked me or, like, shown an interest or something? Like, what am I doing wrong? Like, trying to fix that. And it's coming to terms with, like, you are your own person, like, there's nothing wrong with you, like, you're gonna find that person if that is the path for you? And then my last one is feeling awkward when thrown into a situation that could end in a relationship. I feel so awkward in these situations. Um, like, I don't know, like I went on a date like a couple last year question mark. I don't know, some time ago I went on some date or something. And it just felt so awkward being thrown into that situation. Like especially like the person asking you and everything and like especially when you're not in the same like you don't like them that or you don't see them that way? It's just, like, feeling awkward in those situations, and again, even, like this is why I avoid getting on Hinge, bro, because I feel awkward, bro. Like, how am I supposed to act? But those are my negatives for this topic.
Liz, girl, you ate every single point. Especially, I wanted to comment on your one point. The hopeless romantic one. Yeah, people act like it's just so like you're delusional, you don't know what you're talking about. But again, it truly is the bare minimum. We are just not settling. You know what I mean? Like, truly, our hopeless romantic is really just like a man actually caring for
No,
us. Like,
really
what?
quickly, like, whenever me and
And
Kennedy,
then
because it's always me and Kennedy who, like, read the same books and things like that, and whenever we're, like, screeching, crying, throwing up at a scene in a book and just having to put that book down. It's literally not like the man bent over and did the most and like changed the course of things. It's simple things. Like when they remember something that the character said so long ago that even I, as the reader, forgot. Like, it's the bare minimum. Like, it's not crazy things that happen in these books, you guys.
exactly. And then the am I the problem? Because sometimes I'd be like, okay, I know that I don't put myself out there, but I feel like I don't need to. Like, I don't know. I just feel like I've just seen so many times where boys approach girls that they're attracted to. Like they have that confidence. And I'm just like, well, no one's approaching me. So like, I don't know. I don't know. I don't think I'm intimidating or anything like that, but yeah. And now we're going to get into kind of the positives. So I feel like I have a lot. And then I'll just like mix in like my positives with my tips that I feel like I could give to someone who may be listening and is like, okay, I could really need some help if you're struggling with being the single friend, but some positives. And okay, so this first one, I want to put a disclaimer. This is not supposed to be made in a shady way, but so please don't take it that way in case one of our friends is listening. But just seeing all of my friends' experiences, just learning through like what they have told me and seeing from the outside has made me learn like what I don't want and what not to do. Because they're living the lessons and we know we don't want history to repeat themselves. So definitely a positive of not being in it in the same time is I can sit back and observe. I do not have to answer to anyone, which I mean that would be more so if I was dating someone clingy, which I don't really want to. But like some people are like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna do this, this, and this. Like I just don't have to worry about anybody, so I can be selfish. Like everything, like my life revolves around myself, obviously, because it's my life, and I just don't have to worry about anyone. I know how to be content on my own. I know that's part of a reason a lot of people are like serial daters because they literally don't know how to be on their own, and I feel like I'm very good at it. Obviously, no one's perfect at it, but I've definitely gotten a lot better at it. And I don't think I could have grown the way I could have within the past couple of years if I wasn't or if I was in a relationship, because I'm just thinking like I have like so many people they're just like, oh well, I don't really have to deal with this. Like you just always have someone to kind of like rely back on. But like I've just always have just had to figure it out, like especially like I'm just thinking specifically with my whole college experience up to this point, like I've just have always just had to kind of figure things out on my own in person. Like obviously I have like my friends and my parents over the phone, but like actually in person I've like had to, get up, do my thing, do what needs to be done, and just grow from there. I've been able to nourish my existing relationships and in terms of family and friendship. So just bettering relationships with friends, being more intentional with like hangouts and just like checking up in on each other and like texting and about their day and stuff. And my life is peaceful. I don't have to worry about nothing. When I go to bed, there ain't no man beside me bothering me. I can just sit in pure silence in the morning and at night. So I like that. Actually, I'll let Liz go through her positives and then I can go through my tips
And
because I feel
Imma
like I've been
bounce off
talking
some of
for
your
a long
tips 'cause I
time.
forgot to put that part in there. No, because Kennedy, your positives were so relatable. Like every single one, I was over here like nodding my head, like, yes, uh-huh, what she said. But some of my positives I would say is not settling is a big one. Like I know my worth and I know what is good in a relationship and what is toxic in a relationship. Like I've been able to see like not only like through my friends' relationships, but also like people I follow online or like people that I know, like I've been able to see these examples of like what I want and what I don't want in a relationship. So I know my worth and I'm not gonna settle, you know? Like it's not a hopeless romantic thing. It's just a like I know what's good for me and what's not good for me, you know? I know what I want and what I don't want. So I would say another positive is knowing what I want and what I don't want. So like overall just like knowing what works and what doesn't and just being able to like really know yourself as an individual. I truly, truly, truly believe that like if you want your relationship to be successful, you have to be able to like have self love first and self worth before you like devote that onto someone else, you know? Like I'm not my like happiness and like my fulfillment and all that stuff isn't dependent on what someone else thinks of me. And sometimes I think like if you're thrown into a relationship and you don't have that, like you just grow this dependency on that other person. And like I'm very independent. I can do things on my own. Like I don't need someone else to like do everything for me. Like it's a benefit, but it's not like a weight, you know? And then I would say another positive is just being able to really appreciate the other types of relationships that I have, like not just like a intimate relationship with like someone else, but like the familial and like my friendships. Those are relationships that I truly, truly value and that I like I truly think that like without those relationships, I wouldn't be at where I am right now. So, like, with those relationships, I've been able to, like, see I keep on saying this, but I know what I want, what I don't want. I know, like, the love and things that, like, my friends have given me and, like, things like that. I know I'm gonna go through my phone and find this TikTok really quickly that, one of my friends sent this morning, and it says, princess treatment starts with your friends. I know love because I know my friend and how they treat me. They have shown me kindness at my lowest moments. They make me feel seen and supported. They know how to make me laugh, push me out of my comfort zone, and never made me feel bad for being myself. That's love. And I think that is such like a good quote overall of like, you know, what I want and what I'm seeking or whatever. So those are my positives, I would say.
Yes, I love how you brought up the whole like friendship aspect in that quote because that's just literally so true. Like I feel like female friendships like they just see it different. Like we truly just like being with my female friends like truly just fills my soul. And it made me think of another TikTok that I think Kelsey or you sent and I reposted it and it was like trying to act so chill and nonchalant but crying because I have the most beautiful, stunning, talented, iconic amazing female friendships that I love and appreciate so much. Genuine rays of sunshine who heal hearts they never broke by just simply existing. Girls who know me more than I know myself. Girls who make me feel so complete. Girls who have left their handprints on my heart. And I was just like, wow. Like I go back and rewatch that sometimes because I'm just like it's too good.
No, because Kennedy over here got me tearing up. Oh my gosh. Me muting my microphone so like nobody hears me reacting. So you guys know the negatives, you know the positives, and now we're gonna get into some of our tips. So Kennedy compiled a list of different tips, and I agree with every single one of them. So we're gonna bounce off each other on some of these tips that we have. So the first one we have is living by relationships are an addition to your life, not your whole life. Kennedy, I don't know if like you got this quote for someone, if this is just you speaking, because whatever it is, yeah, what she said, what they said, what whoever said this said, because that is like such a good quote to just like repeat back to yourself, I feel like. Um Relationships do not define who you are. You are the one who defines who you are. So just like this relationship is it's a benefit. It's not like the only thing that you're living for, you know? Like it adds a little plus, but you're not living for the relationship. You're living for yourself, you know? I don't know if you want to add anything, Kennedy.
Yes, if y'all could see me, I was clapping when Liz said a relationship is a benefit because that's exactly what it is. Like, I feel like, especially like girls our age, like I just see like in college, like their whole life truly becomes their boyfriend. I'm like, no, 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 sweetie, no.
No,
So I do it
because
online.
when
Okay,
everything you
let's
talk
continue being
about is
independent.
only about that
Let's do that.
relationship, is it really a benefit or is that relationship consuming you? Let that sit in.
Let that sink in. And then next is just continue working to be your best self and reaching all your goals. Like do not dwell on like this one little aspect of your life. And like if you're I feel like okay, so I know it's annoying when people say like it like comes when you least expect it, which is like so annoying, like shut up. But like I kind of get it because it's like if you're like just all consuming it, I feel like you're gonna attract the wrong type of male attention and you're just gonna kind of be stunting your growth. But like no, like just continue working on making yourself the best, and I feel like the energy you put out there is like the
And
same
adding on
energy
to
you're
that,
gonna
like
hopefully
at the end of the
receive.
day, relationships can end. Like it's not a guaranteed for forever. Even if you're married, like obviously when you get married and everything, like you're thinking like long term, like this is the person I'm gonna spend my life with. Like you're doing it for a reason. But at the end of the day, it you never know what's gonna happen. Whether that be, you know, the universe calling someone back to into the universe or like, you know, just obstacles or whatever. Like you it's not guaranteed for life. So I would always say like whatever the goals that you do for yourself and the things that you accomplish, those are set for you. Those are things that like are gonna be there. Things can change obviously with anything, but like you always have that, you know? You don't want to have like only your relationship to fall back onto. And then our next little oh my gosh, our next little tip is be selfish! Exclamation mark, exclamation mark, exclamation mark. You know, like you know what you want and that's okay, you know? Like you know yourself better than anyone, you know? So it's okay to like take things in for you and do things for you. Like if you're in a relationship, don't stop doing things that you enjoy, you know? You still need to be selfish. You still need to do things you like. And the same thing if you're someone that's not in a relationship, like just because, oh, what if this works out or something? Like, no, like you need to do things for yourself. You need to be the one taking control and taking reign of your life. So be selfish, you know? You know yourself.
Yes, and I want to add with being selfish, like truly take time to like still continue doing your own interests, your own hobbies. I feel like so many people they can get lost in the relationship and only want to do stuff that their partner wants to, and if like their partner doesn't want to do it, they're like, oh, then I can't do it, but you literally can. So yeah, really be selfish. But obviously consider them. Like don't be rude, but like be selfish. And then next is like another quote I've heard. I remember I saw it in a TikTok, and I'm pretty sure this was a TikTok comment that I saw, but it was like, "You are still single because you haven't settled," and I think that's a good reminder. Um, if you ever feel down about it, because you just hold yourself. I want to say hold yourself to a higher standard because I don't want it to sound like shady towards people who are in relationships. Um, but yeah, you just know your worth and you know that there's more out there and you're just not gonna pick
Yes.
the
Emphasis on
first
like you
man who
haven't
shows
settled. And like Kenny
interest.
said, we're not hating people who are in relationships. Like again, like we've said before throughout this episode, you know what's good for yourself and like what's not and everything. But like, you know, you are you're not settling for just anyone, like, you know what you want, you're determined, so you're gonna, like, go out there and, like, get what you want, you know? So our next little tip is get friends or connect with other friends who are in the same boat as you. Like I said, it can be lonely out here, especially because I feel like that topic of being the single friend or like being the single one in the group or whatever, like there's only like there's things that you relate or like that you want to talk about that your other friends that are in relationships just aren't going to relate. They're not going to understand. And like while yes, everybody was single at a certain point in their life, once you're in that relationship and you've like stepped out of that complete like never had experience type thing, like you just don't relate the same way as that person who's still single. Like you aren't alone. Like we said this throughout, you aren't alone. There's other people who relate. Um like I said, even as simple as like scrolling through TikTok and you'll like find someone and you'll see things and like the girlies are hyping each other up and everything. So like find friends who are going to hype you up and not going to make you feel bad or like make you feel I'm the word isn't coming to me. The words aren't wording, but someone that makes you feel not okay about being like the single person in the group. So find those friends.
Yeah, and I feel like definitely if you again are like the single friends, like don't be like afraid to like set boundaries if necessary for yourself. Like I know personally for me, like sometimes I won't engage too heavily in relationship talk with kind of my taken friends just because I don't know, just me personally, I feel like weird about it because just like I don't really know how much one that my opinion or say would be like valued into. Yeah, I don't know, I just feel like awkward about it in my mind. And then I remember hearing something on the internet about how like, it's good to like get friends, like not like obviously don't ditch your friends if they haven't done nothing wrong, but just like find new people, connect with new people who are in the same boat as you so it doesn't feel like that alone. Oh wait, I think I heard this concept on the What We Said podcast. Basically, one friend was pregnant, another was, struggling with infertility issues. And so she was like, finding other people who are in the same boat as her was also good because it's like while she's happy for her friend who's obviously pregnant, like she is also dealing with her own things. So that's like the same concept I'm trying to like express right now. And then our last tip is do not center your life on men. I feel like I used to have friends like men was just all they would talk about, and it was kind of sad because it's like there's just so much more to life than like, oh, this boy thinks I'm cute. Oh, I need to talk to this boy. It's like getting a boyfriend was like their number one goal in life, and I'm just like there's just so much more to
What
life than
KT
boys.
said, you
So
know.
let's all
Like I
decenter
said,
men
you are your own
in
person.
2024.
Don't be dependent on them. Don't let that consume you. And now we're gonna get into some of our misconceptions. I'm gonna start off with one of mine. Oh, this is a good one to start off. My expectations are too high. So like I unpacked this already a bit, you know, like they're not too high. They're the bare minimum, I feel like. Like I'm not over here dreaming of, I don't know, a Greek god coming down from the clouds or something. Like, you guys, that's not what I'm dreaming about. Like, it's literally just the bare minimum. Like someone who appreciates who I am, appreciates like the relationships I already have. That is so important to me, you know? Like someone who just is an addition to all those things and is gonna like, be an addition. My words, they're not wording today, but that's my first misconception is my expectations are not too high, you guys. I swear I'm not dreaming about a Greek god or anything. I promise you.
Okay, I'm about to go off topic real quick, but I swear to God, I just had an epiphany. I feel like it makes sense why me and you are like, oh, like we just know that our men are not American because I feel like we
Mhm.
kind of have like similar expectations of like our type in men, which is like, which we will get into later in the episode.
That stuff isn't like things that you learn. It's things that like you just do, you know? I agree. Yeah, no.
Okay. So my first misconception is just because we are single does not mean we are lonely. We recently just got called single lonely Fs. So that. And, I didn't really take it to heart because, I'm in a better place right now. I was able to laugh it off. But me personally, like, there's a difference between, physically being alone and then feeling loneliness. And me personally, I haven't felt loneliness in a while. So now whether I'm content being single, it depends on that. But I'm not lonely. And just because you're lonely, do not assume or do not let other people assume that because you're single,
What
you're
Kennedy
lonely.
said. Because I'm single does not mean I'm lonely. Like, just because 'cause I'm an independent person, like, just because I'm not in a relationship doesn't mean I'm lonely. Like, I have other relationships or things that, like, fulfill my need for a relationship, you know? Like, it would still be nice, but, like, I'm not lonely, you know? Like, I'm not over here depressed, I promise you guys. And then building off of that one, my next misconception is just because we're single doesn't mean we can be clowned on. Um, you know, like I said before, you never know where someone's at mentally. Like, sometimes, although it is a joke, it can be taken as not a joke, and it can really hurt, and it can just add to that negative, like, I don't wanna call it trauma because it's not trauma, but the negative, um, I don't know, the negative something, fill in the blank, the negative things of, like, being single, you know, like, it just adds on to that in a not good way, so don't make that negative list even longer than it needs to be.
My next one is just because we have little to no experience does not mean our advice is not valid. I know we've both been told plenty of time, like, oh, kind of along the lines of what will we know because we haven't experienced it. But I remember I was like, we're all living in the same world. Like, okay, us humans, for the most part, we're not stupid. Like, just the same way that we watch shows and emphasize and learn about new situations that we've never had been in and stuff. I feel like that's the same way with relationships. Like, okay, I can watch something about someone who had some type of surgery and emphasize. And like I can still have my opinion or something, even though I haven't been through it because, I'm just human. Like I'm just taking in the world, observing, sharing my thoughts. And I feel like just you don't have to necessarily go through something to fully understand it for the most part. But yeah, like I mean, it's a romantic relationship. I feel like it's truly not that hard to understand, even if you haven't been in one.
Just because 'cause I've never been in a relationship doesn't mean I don't have an opinion of something, but, like, when you're working in a group, like, everybody has different ideas and everything, and, like, together y'all do the best, you know? Teamwork makes the dream work, so the same thing, like, with advice and everything, like, it doesn't mean that you have to take my advice, I'm just giving you advice, you know, in a way, and, not to hype myself up, but I feel like my advice be solid when it comes to this type of thing. Like, don't get me wrong, sometimes when someone's like, "Oh, like, what do I say to this guy?" or something like that, don't take my advice for that because I don't know. I'm still struggling with that. But, like, overall advice about a relationship or, like, something that's going on in a relationship, I feel like my advice be pretty good. I'm not saying if nothing goes like, if it goes wrong or something, come and blame me, but just because like, don't invalidate someone's advice because they're not in the same exact experience as you or same exact boat as you. Yeah, that's the word.
So I'm sorry for like kind of the abrupt ending for this podcast episode, but we actually decided to make this a two-parter episode because it's already getting so long and Liz had to leave for work. So part two will be coming on the Friday that this is posted, similar to our Fangirls episode with Kelsey. So honestly, listen to that if you haven't already. But yeah, we're gonna finish up the misconceptions section and then we have so much more left to talk about. Trust, it is going to be good. So I will talk to you guys in the next episode on Friday. Bye.